Hey guys, Galaxy Studios here, coming at you with Larry time, baby! Woo! So I don't think I need to tell you that Larry is by far the fan favorite gym leader of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And yeah, he's my favorite. His concept is my favorite concept for a normal type gym leader the series has ever done. Granted, no normal type gym leader or trial captain before him has even had a concept, but still, making him an overworked regular guy with 3 jobs was absolutely genius and it was executed perfectly. His team is also pretty well thought out, although each of his Pokemon can be walled pretty easily, but only if the player knows what's coming. Staraptor can crush the fighting types that hit it super effectively. The masterpiece known as Dudunsparce has a lot of power along with paralysis hacks, and Kamala actually has a dark type move, along with surprisingly high attack stat. With that said, Kamala is beaten by a Toxic Stall, Dudunsparce is beaten by any ghost type that isn't grounded, and Staraptor is walled by any rock or steel type because, despite learning the move as soon as it evolves, Larry Staraptor doesn't know close combat. It's a pretty easy fight to prepare for, and that's something I'd like to change. I'll be going more into detail in my justification for each Pokemon and his team since I want to do Larry right. He deserves something good after everything he's been through. As a reminder, I can't use another Gym Leader's Ace or partner, Legendaries and Paradox Pokemon are banned, and I'm only allowed to add a pseudo-legendary to the team for the rematch. With that said, let's get to Larry time, baby! Woo! For Larry's first team, 2 members were obvious, Staravia and Dunsparce. For the third, I went with another Paldea native who I feel should have been on Larry's team from the start, Tandemaus. It's great that this region has a Paldea native that's weak enough to be on the first Gym Leader's team, which is why I didn't give Kofu Veluza at the start, while also scaling incredibly well into the endgame, which is why I didn't give Kofu Veluza at the end. The attacks I gave Larry's team didn't take much thought, I just gave them all stab attacks and glare for Dunsparce. One last wrinkle I'd like to mention is that for every single team I'm giving Larry, he's going to lead off with and immediately terrestrialize his ace. I feel like this suits his character since he'd want to end the fight as soon as possible one way or the other, and I also feel like it would make for a nice surprise. Let me know what you think of this idea. As always, Staravia gets an Oranberry. I must admit, I didn't have many options for the third moves I gave the team for Larry's second gym team. I ultimately decided on Endeavor for Staravia, Screech for Dunsparce, and Bullet Seed for Tandemaus. I'll be the first to admit that this isn't the best start for Larry, but don't worry. The team's about to get a serious power boost. I was given a lot more freedom with the movesets for Larry's team as the third gym leader. Well, not for Tandemaus. They'll learn no useful moves between the second and third level caps, and their moves are unchanged. However, I'm able to give Staravia Facade to replace Quick Attack, and Dunsparce becomes the uncontested best member of the team by learning Serene Grace Ancient Power. It's what Dunsparce deserves, after all. Staravia also gets a Citrus Berry. As the fourth gym leader, I finally have the opportunity to get rid of one of the only 2 bad moves left on the team, Dunsparce's Flail. It's potentially devastating, but incredibly inconsistent, and replacing it with Drill Run gives Dunsparce almost universal coverage, as the only Pokemon in the Paldea Regional Dex that resist both Rock and Ground are Breloom and Bronzong. As well, Staravia switches out Wing Attack for the strictly better Aerial Ace. Finally, Tandemaus get busy and evolve, learning Play Rough in the process. We've arrived at the position Larry holds in the actual game, the 5th gym leader. I feel like the team I've constructed is a lot harder than the team he actually has. For one, Staraptor has a full moveset this time, with U-turn for pivoting and close combat. I was reluctant to give Staraptor close combat even this early, but then I found out that Staraptor learns close combat on evolution. There's no excuse for Larry Staraptor not to have it. For another, the newly evolved Dunsparce is no longer walled by a non-grounded ghost type, as I'm rounding its moveset off with Bite. Finally, instead of Kamala, we have a Maushold that can hit fighting types with Play Rough and Rock and Steel types using Low Sweep. I also added a Honeclaw Zangoose as the 4th team member that can also hit fighting, rock, and steel types for super effective damage with Low Sweep and Aerial Ace. I personally love Zangoose, and its very simple design fits Larry well in my opinion. As a 6th gym leader, the team starts to get closer to its final moveset. The notable changes are Dunsparce upgrading from Drill Run to Earthquake, Dunsparce also losing Glare in favor of Longevity with Roost, Maushold finally losing Super Fang in order to get Tidy Up, a Dragon Dance that removes hazards, and Zangoose learning Brick Break in place of Low Sweep. We're getting closer. Larry's team, as a 7th gym leader, sees a few more moveset upgrades. Notably, Staraptor drops Facade for the significantly more powerful Double Edge. As well, I decided to replace Bite on Dunsparce with Dragon Rush. Yes, it means you can't hit Air Balloon Mimikyu, but I'd rather have Serene Grace flinches, especially considering Dragon Rush's synergy with a move that I'll get into and that you probably know is coming. Zangoose drops Facade for now, replacing it with a more consistent Body Slam. Finally, Maushold learns Low Kick, not only its best fighting type move, but also a reference to the calculations I gave during Alpharad and Pokemon Challenges Soul Link that they ended up ignoring. I'm honestly glad they didn't need them, it made for a much more exciting final fight. Enough talk, let's talk some more. It's time for Larry's team as the final gym leader. I've been holding off on giving Staraptor Brave Bird since there isn't an intermediate step between it and Aerial Ace, but it's finally time. This is Staraptor's final moveset. I'm choosing to replace Dudunsparce's status move again, this time with Coil. This not only makes Dudunsparce a setup threat, but makes Dragon Rush nearly perfectly accurate after a single Coil. So you'd better watch out for those Serene Grace flinches. Even though Maushold doesn't learn Population Bomb before the level cap, I'm fine with giving it to Larry's Maushold. Once again, Larry deserves it. For Zangoose, I dropped Hone Claws and Brick Break for Swords Dance and Close Combat respectively because I was done holding back. Finally, I wanted to add a special attacker to the team, so I went with Blissey. Soft Boiled and Seismic Toss were obvious picks. Shadow Ball hits Seismic Toss's only immunity for super effective damage, and Thunder Wave was to be annoying. Yes, she gets shattered by a physical attack without EVs, but it was easily the best option for a special attacker. Overall, I think this team's good. Importantly, it fits Larry's plain aesthetic, which was another reason why I picked Zangoose over something like Squawkabilly or Braviary. But we're not done yet. You know the drill, it's time for a full team of 6. I made some massive changes to this team compared to the previous one, with a surprise coming for Larry's final team member. Enjoy. As I previously said, Staraptor's moveset is the best it's ever going to be. There's no need to change it at all, aside from powering up Brave Bird and Double Edge by changing its ability to Reckless. However, for Dudunsparce, I'm pivoting to a mixed moveset so the team isn't too overly physical. Dudunsparce has high enough special attack that Boom Burst is actually its strongest normal-type attack, although it loses the broken protection that Hyperdrill gives. To round out its moveset, I had to drop Coil and Dragon Rush, though Air Slash gives even better probability at Serene Grace flinches. Flamethrower is here to deal with non-grounded steel types and to take more advantage of Serene Grace. This is also a completely new 3-segment Dudunsparce, because Larry. Up next is a family of 3 Maushold, because Larry, whose ability has been changed to its only useful ability for an AI, Technician. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, this is a 450 base power population bomb. Zangoose's moveset is unchanged, though you may notice that its ability is also different from its ability in Larry's gym teams. I decided to give Blissey Calm Mind. She still gets shattered by physical attacks, but I think setup will help her be a bit more threatening. Finally, I had to decide what to give Larry as his final team member. I considered a few options including Slacking, Oinkologne, and Braviary, but I ended up going with Imposter Ditto. Feel free to let me know who you'd have chosen, but I decided to be evil and put a setup sweep blocker as Larry's final Pokemon. Unlike a lot of the rematch teams I've given, this one seems incomplete. Like it's missing something to take it over the edge. Alright, EVs. Okay, back to the script. It's time to give the exceptional everyman max EVs, competitive items, and optimal natures. Here we go. First off, Choice Band Staraptor with max EVs and speed and attack. No justification needed here. Second, I changed Dudunsparce to a fully special set, gave it the Life Orb, and maxed out its EVs and HP and special attack. I feel like having a second special attacker on the team is generally a good idea, and Dudunsparce has a better special move pool anyway. Third, I gave Maushold the obvious Wide Lens and maxed out its EVs and speed and attack. Nothing too surprising there. Fourth is the obvious choice. Toxic Orb Zangoose with max EVs and speed and attack. Fifth is the only Blissey EV spread that will ever work, max investment in physical bulk with a bold nature. I also gave Blissey the leftovers. Heavy Duty Boots is what's used on Smogon, but she won't be switching in more than once when piloted by an AI, so I went with leftovers. Finally, Ditto obviously gets a Choice Scarf and max investment in HP, its only stat that matters. And that's the final team. I'm going to clear up something right now. I think the best way to handle the 2 rematch teams would be to have the no-item one for the first rematch, and the competitive team for any rematches after the gym assessments have all been completed. I'm looking forward to unveiling some of the stuff I've come up with for the 3 remaining gym leaders. Anyway, subscribe for Larry's sake, okay? Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time on Larry Time, baby! Woo!